the silent edge. The stars burned quietly in the endless black. The Empire's patrol fleet drifted in formation, their silver warships shining like knives in the darkness. Each ship was huge, built with arrogance, built to remind every world of the Empire's power. The captains inside their bridges felt relaxed. Some laughed, some drank bitter alien drinks. Others looked at their control panels with boredom. To them, this was just another routine patrol in a space they believed was safe. But then, something strange happened. On one of the forward ships, a young officer noticed a ripple on the sensor screen. It was not an asteroid, not a normal reading. It looked like a shadow moving where nothing should move. He frowned, tapped the panel, and called his commander. "Sir, there's a distortion at Sector 9. I think the scanners are malfunctioning," the officer said. The commander, an older alien with hard eyes, walked over and looked at the screen. For a moment, the distortion vanished. "Nothing there, just empty space. Glitch," the commander muttered. "Ignore it." But the young officer did not feel at ease. He stared at the screen again, and his heart froze. The shadow had returned, but this time it was bigger, darker, moving closer. "Sir, it's back," he shouted, his voice shaking. The commander cursed and leaned in again, his eyes widened. For the first time in years, he felt a drop of cold fear inside his chest. The distortion was taking shape. The stars bent around it as if light itself was afraid. Then the shadow became solid. A massive warship appeared out of nothing. No warning, no jump signature, no energy spike. It was just there. The patrol fleet fell silent. Every officer, every crew member froze as their eyes locked onto the dark monster now drifting in front of them. The Empire's ships were large, but this ship was larger. It looked old and new at the same time. Its armor was black with silver edges. Its weapons glowed faintly, humming with deadly power, and its design was different from anything the Empire knew. There were no sharp alien curves, no symbols, no banners, just brutal function, built only for war. One whisper ran across the fleet, carried by trembling voices. "Human." The word spread like fire. Many did not believe it. Humans were supposed to be weak, primitive, conquered long ago. The Empire had mocked them, dismissed them, ignored them. Yet here, in the middle of Empire-controlled space, floated a human warship. The silence was broken by a nervous voice over the fleet channel. This can't be real," an alien captain said. "Earth has no fleet. They have no ships. This is impossible." But the ship did not vanish. It stayed, silent and heavy, its presence pressing on their minds like a storm. The young officer whispered, "Sir, it's watching us." The commander wanted to shout, to give orders, but his throat was dry. He had fought in dozens of battles, but never had he seen a ship that felt alive. The alien ships adjusted their positions nervously, targeting systems, began to hum. Then the human warship moved, not fast, not aggressive. It simply turned slightly, and when its weapons aligned, alarms screamed across every Empire vessel. The ship's main cannon glowed with light, energy so dense it bent the space around it. "Raise shields," the commander roared. His voice broke the silence. Panic spread, crews scrambled, fingers flew across panels, ships pulled closer into defensive lines. But deep down, they all knew. They were too slow, on the bridge of the human warship, unseen by alien eyes. A calm human commander stood with folded arms. His face was calm, his eyes cold. His voice was steady when he spoke, but no sound came yet. He waited, letting the enemy drown in fear. Back on the alien ships, the officers argued. "Send a signal." "Who are they? What do they want?" "It must be one of our hidden enemies." But in their hearts they knew the truth. Only humans would build such a ship. Silent, merciless, patient. The glowing cannon grew brighter. It painted the alien ships with deadly light. Sweat dripped down the officer's forehead as he realized the truth. This was no bluff. The young officer whispered again, "Sir, if that weapon fires, we are finished." The commander clenched his fists. His voice was low and filled with dread. "Prepare for impact," he said. The alien fleet, once so proud, so untouchable, now held its breath. The vast empire, the rulers of countless stars, trembled, and the warship, the human warship, waited at the edge of silence. The galaxy had just witnessed the impossible. The Empire's worst fear had come true. An Earth warship had appeared out of nowhere, and it was ready to strike. The warship revealed. The alien fleet held its breath. All scanners, all eyes were locked on the black shape floating before them. The human warship did not move fast. Did not rush into attack. It just existed with a weight so heavy that even the most veteran captains felt their hands shake. For long minutes, nothing happened. The silence was unbearable. Some aliens whispered that maybe it was a ghost, some kind of strange projection. Others thought it was a trick from one of the Empire's rivals. But the young officer on the forward ship shook his head. He stared at the panels, reading every line carefully. His voice cracked when he spoke. No, it's real. The mass readings. The energy output. Sir, this is no illusion. That ship is alive. The commander beside him growled, trying to hide his fear. He had seen many enemies, but this one looked different. It carried no bright colors, no banners, no attempt to show honor. It was pure purpose. Every Empire warship was designed with curves and gold plates to show power and pride. But this ship, it was simple, sharp, black. Its engines were silent. Its weapons glowed faintly like sleeping beasts. Every line of its armor said one thing: built for survival, built for killing. A captain from another vessel sent a fleet-wide message. His voice thin with disbelief. I've never seen design like this. It's brutal, ugly, efficient. This can only be human. The words spread again like fire. Human, human. The race they thought weak, backward, unworthy. Humans were supposed to be lost in their small blue world. They had no empire, no colonies worth speaking of, just rumors, stories, whispers from the past. Yet here was proof. A warship larger than any Empire dreadnought. A ship that had appeared without warning in the heart of Empire-controlled space, on the bridge of the human vessel. The commander finally gave a quiet order. The warship's hull panels shifted, revealing rows of weapons. Turrets turned. Missiles, armed beams of energy shimmered across its surface. The aliens gasped. Some dropped their cups, others clutched the arms of their seats. It was no bluff. This ship carried enough firepower to erase fleets. The commander on the forward Empire ship forced himself to speak. His voice cracked, but he shouted anyway. Open channels, all frequencies. Demand identification. Demand purpose. Signals flew, but no answer came. The human ship stayed silent, its weapons aimed, but its voice quiet. For the first time in centuries, the Empire's fleet felt like prey. An admiral on the flagship slammed, his fist on the console. Humans cannot have this technology. They cannot. We crushed them long ago. But deep inside, even he knew the truth. The Empire had never truly crushed humans. They had ignored them, mocked them, called them nothing. But in the shadows of history, Earth had been watching. Earth had been building, another officer whispered. If one ship can appear like this, how many more are waiting? The thought was poison. It spread quickly. What if this was not the only one? What if this was just a scout? What if Earth had a whole fleet hidden in darkness? The human warship moved again. It glided closer, slow and steady. Its engines burned. With quiet blue fire, its black hull reflected the distant starlight like a blade. Then for the first time it spoke. A voice filled the comms, deep, calm, and cold. The words were clear, translated perfectly into the Empire's language. You are trespassing, the human voice said. Leave this sector or be destroyed. The words fell like thunder. The alien crews froze. They had expected negotiation, threats, demands of surrender, but the humans offered no deal, no tribute, only a warning. Impossible, one alien admiral spat. This is our space, these are our stars. But no one answered him because at that moment the human ship fired a warning shot. A single bolt of energy flashed across the void. It passed through the shields of an Empire cruiser as if they did not exist. The cruiser's armor peeled back, its hull torn open like paper. The ship split into two glowing pieces and vanished in fire. The alien fleet screamed in panic. Ships pulled back, shields strengthened, weapons locked onto the human vessel. Yet every captain knew the truth. If the human ship wanted them gone, they would already be dead. The young officer whispered again, voice shaking. "Sir, they're weapons. We can't match them. Our shields are useless." The commander's face was pale. His hands trembled as he clenched the rail. He had fought for the Empire all his life, but never had he felt so small, so weak. The human voice spoke again. Calm and final. "Leave," it said. "This is your last chance." Silence followed. Only the sound of alarms, the hum of engines, and the heavy beating of alien hearts filled the ships. The Empire, masters of the galaxy, rulers of countless stars, stood frozen before a single Earth warship, and in that silence they realized something terrible. Humanity had returned, and they were not the weak race the Empire remembered. They were stronger, sharper, deadlier. The shadow of Earth had finally revealed itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. First strike. The alien fleet stood frozen. Every captain, every officer, every soldier waited for the human warship to move again. Its weapons still glowed with silent power, its black hull like a shadow cutting through the stars. For a long moment, there was nothing, just silence, just the hum of alien engines and the heavy sound of nervous breaths. Then it happened. The human ship fired. It did not fire wildly. It did not waste energy. One single shot burst from its main cannon. A white beam of pure destruction crossed the void and smashed into an Empire cruiser. The ship exploded instantly, its shields useless, its hull torn apart in less than a second. Pieces of burning metal scattered through the fleet. Shockwaves rolled across the Empire formation. Crew screamed, alarms blared, captains shouted orders. But before they could regroup, another shot came, then another. 2 more ships were gone in flashes of fire. The human warship did not roar, did not celebrate. It just moved with cold precision. Every shot chosen, every strike perfect, impossible. An alien admiral shouted on the flagship, "No ship has weapons like this, no shields can stop it." But even as he spoke, another vessel near him burst into flames. Panic filled the Empire fleet. Some ships turned away, trying to escape. Others tried to lock weapons on the human vessel. "Target them!" one commander screamed. "Fire everything!" Dozens of alien ships unleashed their cannons. Bright beams and missiles filled space, slamming into the human warship. The alien crews held their breath, waiting for damage, waiting for cracks in the black hull. But the human ship did not break. The energy splashed against invisible armor. Missiles vanished in bursts of light. Their strongest weapons did nothing, not even a scratch. The young officer on the forward ship whispered, "Their armor. It's absorbing everything, sir. We can't hurt them." The commander swallowed hard, his mouth dry, his heart sinking deeper with each failed strike. The human warship turned slowly, weapons recharging. It was like watching a predator choose its next victim, and then, without warning, dozens of smaller weapons opened fire. Railguns shredded through one frigate, missiles tore another apart. Laser beams cut through shields as if they were mist. In less than 3 minutes, 5 more Empire ships were destroyed. The fleet that once ruled the galaxy was being torn apart by a single human vessel. On the bridge of the human warship, the commander stood silent. His officers moved with calm hands, pressing controls, adjusting weapons. There was no fear in their eyes, only focus. They were trained for this. They had prepared for this moment for years. The alien crews screamed across, "Open channels! Who are you? Why are you here? This is Empire space. Stop firing!" But the human ship gave no answer. Instead, another voice came, calm and steady, translated perfectly for them to hear. "This is your punishment," the voice said. "You thought Earth was weak. You thought we would surrender. You thought wrong." The words chilled the aliens more than the weapons, because deep inside, they remembered. They remembered the stories of humans fighting to the last breath, refusing to bow, refusing to kneel, and now those stories were real again. Another cruiser exploded, its wreckage drifting into the void. An admiral on the flagship slammed his claws against the panel, his eyes wide with desperation. "Retreat," he shouted. "All ships retreat, break formation." But it was too late. The human ship fired its main cannon once more. The flagship itself shook under the blast. Shields cracked, armor burned. The mighty symbol of the Empire's pride was left scarred and smoking. Inside the Empire ship's soldiers cried out. Their leaders had always promised the Empire was unstoppable, invincible. But now they saw the truth with their own eyes. One ship, one human ship, was breaking them. The commander of the forward vessel whispered to himself, his voice weak almost like a prayer. If one ship can do this, how many more do they have? The thought spread like poison through every crew member, through every captain, through every officer. Fear grew heavier, because the truth was simple. Humans would never send their only warship into enemy space. This was not a lone hunter. This was a messenger. The first strike had shown the galaxy what humanity could do. The Empire trembled, knowing this was just the beginning. The warship floated silently again, its weapons cooling, its engines glowing faintly. It did not chase the fleeing ships, it did not boast, it simply waited, patient and calm, as if it knew sooner or later, the Empire would come again. And when they did, the humans would be ready. The black ship turned slowly, disappearing into the void. But the fire it left behind burned deep in every alien heart. The Empire's worst fear was no longer a rumor. No longer a ghost, it was real, and it had just struck them with the cold hand of Earth. Panic in the Empire, news of the battle spread faster than light. Empire channels lit up with emergency reports. Distress calls from broken ships, cries for help, and fragments of destroyed fleets echoed across the stars. The name whispered in every transmission was the same. Human warship. First, leaders on distant worlds laughed. They thought it was rumor and exaggeration from frightened officers. After all, the Empire was eternal, unbeatable. Who could challenge them? Humans were nothing more than a forgotten race on a small blue world. But then the images arrived. Grainy recordings showed the black ship tearing cruisers apart, shattered hulls burning in space, the flagship itself scarred and smoking. Even without sound, the fear in the eyes of alien crews was clear. The Senate chamber of the Empire turned into chaos. Hundreds of alien voices shouted at once, "Impossible! Fabricated lies. No one can build such weapons. Where did this ship come from?" The High Chancellor, an old alien with skin like stone, slammed his claw on the desk. His voice roared over the chamber. "Silence. We will examine the truth before spreading fear." But even he looked uneasy. His eyes betrayed a fear he tried to hide. Behind closed doors, admirals and generals gathered. They replayed the footage again and again, studying every movement of the human ship. Every blast, every maneuver, one general whispered. "That armor, it resists everything. Even our strongest beams," another muttered. "And the weapon power, no known design matches it. If one ship can do this, what about 10? What about 100? The room fell silent. Their claws tapped nervously on the table. At last the High Admiral spoke, his voice heavy. "We underestimated Earth. We thought them weak, but while we mocked, they prepared. They hid their strength until now." The words were poison. No one wanted to admit it. But the truth could not be ignored. In the streets of Empire cities, citizens whispered. Rumors ran faster than officials could silence them. They say humans returned. One ship destroyed an entire fleet. If humans can fight the Empire, maybe others can too. The seeds of rebellion began to stir. Colonies long oppressed listened carefully. If the mighty Empire could bleed, then maybe freedom was possible. The Emperor himself summoned his council. His voice was cold but filled with anger. Humans should have been crushed long ago. Who allowed this to happen? Who left them alone to grow strong? But no one answered because they all knew the truth. The Empire had dismissed Earth as nothing, not worth conquering. Their pride had blinded them. And now the price was coming due. Far away. Hidden reports surfaced. Ancient scouts had warned centuries ago that humans were dangerous, that their spirit to resist was unlike any other race. But those reports had been ignored. buried under arrogance. Now the Empire faced the result. In hidden chambers, some senators whispered a darker fear. What if this ship is not alone? What if Earth has an entire fleet waiting cloaked in the dark? The idea spread like a disease. Admirals could not sleep. Generals could not rest. Every time they closed their eyes, they saw the black warship drifting in silence, ready to strike again. The High Admiral tried to calm the panic. We will increase patrols. We will strengthen borders. If another human ship appears, we will crush it with overwhelming numbers. But no one believed his words. They had all seen what one ship could do. Overwhelming numbers meant nothing if your weapons could not even scratch the enemy. On distant colony worlds, whispers grew bolder. Some alien slaves painted crude images of a black ship on walls, a symbol of hope. Others whispered that humanity was the ghost army sent to break the chains of the Empire. The panic reached even the royal palace. The Emperor stared at the stars, his claws tight on the railing. For the first time in his long life, he felt small. He felt the cold hand of fear. Humans, he muttered. The one race we should have destroyed completely. Meanwhile, in secret human bases hidden across the galaxy, silent fleets waited. Engineers checked weapons, pilots trained endlessly. The black warship had not acted alone. It was only the first, and somewhere deep in the shadows of space, a message traveled across human channels. First strike successful. Empire shaken. Phase 2 begins soon. The galaxy was changing. The Empire no longer looked untouchable. No, longer looked eternal, because a single human warship had shown the truth. The rulers of the stars could bleed, and humanity had returned to make sure they did. The human message. The galaxy held its breath. Across countless stars, the story of the black warship spread like wildfire. Every colony, every trading port, every hidden rebel den whispered the same question. What would the humans do next? The Empire tried to control the story. Officials called it a lie. They said the warship was a trick, a false vision. But no lie could erase the burning wrecks drifting in space. No excuse could explain the screams of survivors who had seen the impossible with their own eyes. The people waited for a sign, and the humans gave it. One night, across the Empire's communication grid, all screens flickered. Messages jammed. Broadcasts froze. For a moment, silence reigned. Then a voice spoke, deep and steady. It was human. "This is Earth," the voice said. "We do not kneel. We do not bow. We never did." On thousands of worlds, citizens stared in shock. The Empire's channels had been hijacked. No one had ever done such a thing before, not even the strongest enemies, but the humans had cut through the Empire's greatest defenses as if they were nothing. The voice continued, calm but sharp. "You trespass in our skies, you burn our colonies, you enslave our brothers and sisters. No more. Leave our borders, or face extinction." The words rolled across the stars, translated into every known tongue. Every species understood. Every citizen heard. The Empire's leaders roared in fury. Admirals slammed their fists. Senators shouted curses. But nothing they said could erase the fear in their hearts. On distant mining worlds, slaves lifted their heads, their eyes filled with hope. On quiet rebel bases, fighters clenched their fists, whispering, "At last." The humans had not just attacked with weapons. They had attacked with words. Words, sharper than any blade. On the flagship of the Empire, the High Admiral shouted at his officers, shut it down now." But the message could not be stopped. Every time they cut one channel, it appeared on another. The humans were everywhere. Their voice was unstoppable. The message continued. "You called us weak. You called us primitive. But while you laughed, we built. While you mocked, we prepared. You will not touch Earth again. You will not touch our people again." Then the voice grew colder. "This is your only warning. Leave now, or we will come for you." The screens went dark. Silence returned. For a long moment, no one spoke. The air was heavy, as if the entire Empire itself had forgotten how to breathe. On a border world, a frightened governor whispered, "If they can hijack our networks, what else can they do?" On a core planet, a senator muttered, "If humans rise, the people will rise with them. We will lose control." Inside the Emperor's palace, the old ruler's claws dug into the railing, his face twisted with rage. Humans think they can scare us, he spat. We are the Empire, we are eternal. But deep in his chest, a seed of fear grew. The message had not been long, not filled with speeches or demands. It had been short, sharp, and deadly, like the strike of a blade, and that made it even more terrifying. Citizens across the galaxy began to whisper. They said they would destroy the Empire. They said we are not alone anymore. Humans are the ones who will break the chains. The Empire tried to silence these voices. They sent guards, they punished rebels. But the message had already taken root. The more they tried to crush it, the stronger it grew. Meanwhile, reports arrived of strange sightings, shadows moving in asteroid belts, strange signals near forgotten colonies. Some swore they had seen more human ships hidden but watching. Admirals panicked. They ordered fleets to patrol. They strengthened defenses. But no matter how far they looked, they never found the humans. The black warship had vanished into silence, yet its presence was everywhere. Its voice echoed in every mind. The High Admiral gathered his generals. His voice was rough. We cannot show weakness. We must strike Earth now, before they strike us again. But another general shook his head, slowly, his eyes dark. And if they have more ships, if this was just one piece of a hidden fleet, we attack, and we may awaken the storm that ends us. The room fell into silence, because no one had an answer. In the darkness of space, the human commander stood on his bridge, his eyes fixed on the stars, his face unreadable. The message is sent, he said quietly. Now the galaxy knows we are here. His officers nodded. They did not smile. They did not cheer. They knew this was only the beginning. The human warship drifted back into the shadows, disappearing, as if it had never been, but its voice, its message, its warning. That remained, and across the galaxy the Empire trembled, the hidden fleet. The Empire's admirals did not sleep. For weeks, they sent scouts into every dark corner of space, searching. For the human warship, they spread fleets thin, hoping to prove to their citizens that the Empire was still strong, still in control. But the shadows whispered different stories. Patrol ships vanished without a trace. Distress signals appeared and then died in silence. Some captains swore they saw glowing blue engines in the asteroid fields, ships that vanished the moment they tried to chase. One scout returned with trembling eyes, his ship scarred, his crew pale. They are not alone, he whispered. There are more, dozens more. At first, his superiors accused him of madness, but then came more reports and then more. Every story told the same truth. Humans had a fleet. In the Senate chamber, voices rose in panic. A hidden armada. Where did they build it? Our spies saw nothing. How could they hide this from us? If they had this power for years, why strike now? The High Admiral slammed his claws on the table. His voice broke through the noise. Because they were waiting. He growled, waiting until the right moment, until we became blind with pride. The words cut deep. No one wanted to admit it, but it was true. On the far edge of the galaxy, hidden behind shattered moons and drifting rock, the truth rested in silence. The hidden fleet, dozens of massive, human warships slept inside asteroid caverns, their black hulls blending perfectly with stone. Cloaking fields hid their energy signatures. Engines stayed cold, weapons waited like sharp teeth. Inside, humans moved with calm precision. Engineers checked every system. Pilots trained again and again. Soldiers walked the halls in silence. They were not a people rushing into war. They were patient, disciplined. Each ship carried the weight of Earth's survival. The commander of the first warship, the one that struck the Empire fleet, now stood among them, his face calm, his voice steady. The Empire has seen only a shadow, he told his officers. They think we have one ship. Let them think so. The fear will grow deeper when the truth arrives. Around him, officers nodded. Their eyes burned with the quiet fire of determination. Far across the stars, Empire analysts studied the reports with dread. They replayed the battle recordings, again and again, searching for weakness, searching for any clue of how to fight the humans, but they found nothing. Their shields failed. Their weapons were useless. Even their strongest dreadnoughts could not survive one strike. An old senator leaned close to the chancellor and whispered, "If humans wanted war, they would not send one ship." That was a warning, Chancellor. Nothing more. A warning. The chancellor's claws tightened, his voice was low. Then what are they waiting for? But no answer came. In secret chambers, rebellion leaders listened carefully. Their hopes grew stronger. They painted human symbols on walls. They trained with old weapons, dreaming of freedom. For the first time in centuries, the Empire's people believed the rulers could be broken. Meanwhile, the humans remained silent. They did not attack. They did not send more messages. They simply watched, waiting. One night, an Empire patrol stumbled too close to an asteroid belt. Their scanners picked up something strange. At first, they thought it was just rocks. But then the shadows moved, engines lit up, weapons glowed. A massive warship slowly pulled free from the stone, its hull black, its weapons shining faintly. The patrol captain froze. His voice cracked over the comms. "Another one! Gods, there's another one!" And then more moved. 2, 3, 4, shapes sliding from the darkness, each one massive, each one terrifying. The patrol turned and fled, but only one ship made it back, carrying the truth. The Empire could no longer deny it. The humans had not one ship, not two, but an entire fleet. Hidden in the shadows, panic swept through the admirals. "If they launch, we cannot stop them," one muttered. "They will burn through our fleets like fire through paper," another whispered. "They waited too long. We gave them time to grow." The High Admiral stared at the reports with dark eyes, his voice low, heavy. "We are not fighting rebels," he said. "We are not fighting pirates, we are fighting ghosts, and they are human." In the dark caverns of the asteroids, the human commander stood before a star map. Points of light marked Empire worlds, trade routes, strongholds. He looked at them. With calm eyes, his voice firm. "They think they rule the galaxy. They think no one can stand against them, but we will show them. One warship made them tremble. What will they do when the fleet moves together?" The officers around him bowed their heads. The hidden fleet waited, silent and patient. And the Empire, for the first time in its long history, realized the truth. The greatest danger was not what they saw. It was what they could not see. The humans had returned, and they had an armada. The Empire trembles. The galaxy was no longer quiet. Every star system echoed with whispers of the humans, markets, temples, even children on the streets spoke of the black warship. Some called it a ghost. Some called it an angel of vengeance. But everyone agreed on one thing. The Empire was afraid. In the royal palace, the Emperor raged. His claws scraped deep lines into the marble floor as he shouted at his council, "We are the rulers of 1,000 worlds. We will not be threatened by a forgotten race of savages." But even as he roared, he could not hide the fear in his eyes. His generals sat silent, their faces pale. They had seen the reports. They had read the patrol logs. They knew the truth. Humans had more ships. And then the day came. It started at the edge of the Zorath sector, a quiet stretch of space filled with mining colonies. An Empire fleet patrolled there, 20 strong, confident they could crush any enemy. Suddenly, the stars bent, one by one. Shapes emerged from the void, black hulls sliding out of darkness, engines glowing faint blue, weapons humming with deadly light. First came 5 ships, then 10, then 20. The Empire fleet froze. Their scanners screamed with warnings. Their captains stammered, "No, no, this can't be. Not this many." By the time the count ended, more than 30 human warships filled the void. Their formations silent, perfect, cold. The first fleet had revealed itself. The Empire Admiral tried to sound brave, his voice shaking as he shouted over comms, "You are surrounded. This is Empire territory. Leave now or—" His words were cut short, because at that moment the lead human ship moved forward. Its cannons glowing, its presence pressing like a storm on every alien heart. A voice filled the comms, deep and calm. "This is Earth. You had your warning. Now you face the cost. The humans fired. The battle was not a battle. It was slaughter. Empire ships fell one after another. Shields shattered, armor burned, entire cruisers split apart in seconds. The sky filled with fire. The proud fleet of 20 ships was reduced to wreckage in minutes. From the safety of distant systems, Empire commanders watched the recordings in horror. They saw their strongest ships fall like children's toys. They heard their admirals scream as their vessels tore apart. And then, the most terrifying sight came. The human fleet did not chase, did not destroy everything. They stopped, their weapons cooled, their formation held. The human voice returned. "We do not conquer," it said. "We do not enslave. We do not seek your throne. We seek freedom. Leave us in peace. Leave others in peace, or face what you have just seen." The message cut off. The silence that followed was heavier than any explosion. Across the galaxy, rebellion spread like fire. On colony worlds, slaves broke their chains, shouting the human words. On trading hubs, alien captains refused Empire orders. On distant planets, secret banners were raised, black and silver marked with Earth's symbol. The Empire trembled. In the Senate, fear turned into chaos. Some demanded negotiation, others demanded total war, but no one had an answer, because even the bravest senator asked the same question: if 30 ships can do this, how many more do they hide? The Emperor sat alone in his throne chamber, his crown heavy on his head. For the first time in centuries, he felt powerless. They were supposed to kneel. He whispered to himself. They were supposed to kneel. But humans had never knelt. In the hidden asteroid base, the human commander stood before his officers, his face calm, his eyes sharp. He looked at the star map glowing before him. Every Empire world, every trade line, every fortress. "The Empire shakes," he said. They thought fear belonged only to them. Now they taste it themselves. His officers nodded. Their eyes filled with fire. "Is this the end of the Empire?" One asked quietly. The commander shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "This is the beginning. The end will come when every world breathes free. When no chains remain. When no throne rules the galaxy. That day is coming, and Earth will lead it." He turned to the fleet outside the window. Dozens of black warships waited in silence, their weapons sleeping, their engines cold, but everyone knew they could wake at any moment, and when they did, the galaxy would burn. The Empire had always believed itself eternal, untouchable, but now it trembled under the shadow of Earth. For the first time in history, the rulers of the stars feared the humans, and for the first time, the galaxy believed the humans could win. The age of the Empire was ending. The age of Earth had just begun.